At T-Mobile, our critical mission is providing unparalleled 5G coverage for when connectivity is mission critical. Introducing T-Priority, America's best 5G network experience for first responders, even in times of congestion. More capacity, faster speeds, better coverage. T-Priority from T-Mobile, built for tomorrow's emergencies, ready today. Discover more at t-priority.com.
For qualifying organizations on eligible rate plans, coverage not available in some areas and may be impacted by emergencies.
Hi, and welcome to the 10-Minute Food Truck Training Podcast. My name is Bill Moore. I am a food truck business coach, author of Food Truck 101, Beginner to Winner, and the forthcoming book, Food Truck 201. This podcast is all about helping you start and grow your food truck business. Last week, someone brought up the curious question about uniforms. So I want to give you guys my thoughts on uniforms and how they can actually help benefit your food truck business. According to Wikipedia, a uniform means a set standard of clothing worn by members of an organization while those members are participating in that organization's activities. So people that generally wear a uniform would be military members, police, emergency services, medical and dental, and then of course, workplaces that we all know and love, and that's food service. The word uniform means to be the same without any differences. First, you want to think about your uniforms as being a great team building resource for your staff, as well as it reinforces your brand awareness across all the employees that are on your food truck. And that does include you. One of the places I used to work for a long time ago, we had uniforms that had embroidered logos on them. But what we did to kind of create a hierarchy among the staff is we had different colored shirts. So from the guest standpoint, they would step up, place an order, and they could see a whole bunch of people wearing a logo shirt, but of different colors. No big deal. From the staff point of view, though, they understood that a white shirt meant that that was a brand new employee. They were just getting through their training and probably good at one position. If they were wearing a light blue shirt, that meant that they had been trained on multiple positions and had some sense of proficiency in those positions. So somebody wearing a white shirt could ask someone wearing a blue shirt for a little bit of help or tips or pointers on doing their particular job well. Then we had a third shirt, and that was a light pink shirt, and that was worn by people that we had designated as trainers or supervisors, still at the employee level. So they were doing just employee-related training and being in charge of, say, the cashiers or in charge of the cooks or the fry cooks or whatever. But they were in charge of something, and they were the pink shirts. What that told the staff was they could tell who to ask questions of and who not to ask questions of, who could give them good information. It also gave the staff something to work towards, to aspire to. Everybody wanted to be a pink shirt because not only was the pink shirt folks in charge of something, they also were earning more money because of their ability to train. So everybody wanted to be pink shirts. You as the manager of a shift, when you came in and saw mostly pink shirts working, you were thrilled because your job was going to be infinitely easier than if you came into a shift of all white shirts. So the ability to create that little bit of a hierarchy gives something for your staff to aspire to. And then there's also other benefits that you can provide for your employees with the uniform. You can actually buy the entire set, and I'm talking from top to bottom. So not only you're providing a hat, because most people do that, and most people provide either an apron or a t-shirt, but you can also provide the pants and you can also provide the shoes. With shoes, you want to do skid-resistant shoes because that helps to lower your exposure to slip and fall accidents. You can recommend that your employees buy skid-resistant shoes, but here's a couple things about those. Number one, you can't always tell they're skid resistant, and there are some shoes that are skid resistant branded that absolutely are not skid resistant. I personally like either Skechers skid resistant because they're super comfortable and they're very durable, or you can do shoes for crews, and they have all different price ranges in shoes for crews and all different styles. And you might find one that you particularly care for. That's fine, but make sure it is truly skid resistant for your type of flooring. You can provide those, and that's a good way, again, to show safety. Moving up, you should also provide the pants because, as an example, you tell an employee, hey, our color is for you to wear black pants. You are going to get 50,000 shades of black, and there shouldn't be that many different variations. But there's going to be acid wash that ends up actually being a charcoal gray. There's going to be the black shiny. There's going to be the matte black. There's going to be the black that has all different kinds of style differences, like 4 or 5 pockets up and down the legs, or belt loops, or elastic, or a zipper, or not a zipper, or it has pockets on the back, or it doesn't have pockets on the back. There's all different kinds of style variations. So just saying, hey, black pants just doesn't work. because it starts to break that uniformity across your staff. So it's much easier for you to provide them. The shirts should be a logo, and you can do the color scheme that I talked about earlier where you have different gradients of colors. That's fine, or you can just make them all the same color. If you do aprons, aprons should also be color coordinated, so it makes sense to the pants, to the hat, to the shirt. But you want to issue as much of the uniform as you possibly can, because it helps to create that perfect uniformity across your staff. Uniformity across your staff also creates solidarity because everybody is exactly the same. And this goes back to military members, back to the Roman Empire. You knew exactly who was a part of the military and who wasn't by the clothing that they wore. What having a uniform also does for you is when you send your employees out to, say, pick up the parking lot around where your food truck is parked, or you send an employee to run into a store and pick up something because you're out of a particular ingredient. Them wearing the uniform shows them to be a part of your food truck, and they might actually be a Pied Piper for you and bring a couple of people back with them, because they remind the people that, oh, I might be hungry and that's a food truck nearby, and they can follow you around. So it's a walking billboard without it being an overt walking billboard. Having that dress code helps to create more of a business feel for your food truck. It takes it out of being the hobby that might make a little bit of money to it being a legitimate business. And yes, it does require a little bit more planning, a little bit more time on your part, and then a little bit of money, but it does help your overall business and certainly helps your overall brand. So I'm going to give you just 5 little thoughts about why you should have a uniform. Some industries have an expectation of employees wearing a uniform. Clearly, food trucks do, restaurants do. So having a uniform helps, again, with your brand, but also helps make you a part of the industry, because that's that expectation that the average guest has. A uniform can be a perk. I talked about you providing the entirety of the uniform. So now you've helped lower that particular employee's exposure to having to wash their personal clothing more frequently, and also it helps them to save on damage to their personal clothing. So it's a perk. And you can give them additional uniforms as they show reliability and stability in working for you, or they achieve a certain number of hours per week. You can say, once we get you above 25 hours a week, I'll give you a second uniform or a third uniform, whatever you want to do. And it's not a full uniform. You're not giving them 2 sets of shoes, but you're giving them additional shirts or additional pants. You're giving them the elements that they need, because the hat can be worn day after day after day, as the shoes can be worn day after day after day. One of the additional perks is it does create that sense of belonging. They belong to your business. They are a part of the team. That uniformity helps so much. It gives a feeling of equality because everybody's on the same playing field as far as their dress. No one has to feel bad that they can't afford the fancy shoes. No one has to feel bad because they don't have the designer jeans that are the right color. Everybody looks exactly the same. So now the focus becomes not on what I'm wearing, but how can I turn this food out better, faster, and make it more delicious. And then it also helps to inspire growth within your particular business. Studies have found that people that wear uniforms tend to be more caring for their coworkers as well as the people that they're serving, because they feel like they're representing something beyond them. Uniforms are very important, and it fosters traits which are necessary for a person as an individual to feel like they belong, and then they want to thrive and prosper within that particular belonging. So if you guys have questions about uniforms, as much as you can, provide the hat, the shirt, the apron, the pants, and if you can, do the shoes as well. It will go a long way towards creating a unified brand and then giving you control over how folks look on your food truck. And that is going to lead to a stronger brand. Thank you guys so much for listening to the 10-Minute Food Truck Training Podcast. If you're finding all the information useful in your food truck business, please become a monthly supporter of the podcast. Just hit the support button or follow the link in the description. Every little bit does help keep us going. If you like being around like-minded positive people, join our Facebook group. It's called Food Truck Training. We have a whole bunch of awesome members at every level, from brand new beginners to decades-old veterans. They've all got your back when it comes to answering your questions and helping your food truck business prosper. And again, thank you so much for listening. Come back tomorrow because I got plenty more to say when it comes to helping you and your food truck business grow.